Hello, this is the next video in our series of how to build your apparel decorating business. In the last video, we talked about the things to consider as you think about adding embroidery to your business. It's a natural that goes with screen printing, heat press vinyl, sublimation, screen print transfers, etc. Because as we said in the last video, many of your customers order both these processes, screen printing and embroidery, and a lot of times in the same order. So by not having it, you're probably losing customers. We also talked about at first getting you a good contract decorator and letting them do your embroidery. But as your business continues to grow, sooner or later, the decision is, do you add it? So we're assuming that you've made that decision now. Now, what are some of the things you need to consider? I think the first thing you want to consider is, do you want to buy a new machine or a used machine? Obviously, a used machine is going to be cheaper, but it has mileage on it and has been used, and you don't know sometimes how well it's been cared for, those type of things. Here's what I would say about that. If you are very intuitive, very able to figure things out easily, be able to read the owner's manual, watch some videos, and pick up on things very quickly, that would lend itself more to used. When you buy a used machine, particularly if you're going to buy it from a private party, you're going to get basically little support on how to run the machine. When the machine has a problem or this happens or that happens, you're basically going to get little or no support. You can buy used machines from dealers, and you're much more likely to get support from them. That's one thing to ask. If you're going to buy a used machine from a dealer, you need to particularly ask about support. What if you can't figure out how to do this? You can't figure out this function on the machine. Are they going to support you? Is that a part of the deal, so to speak, in buying that machine? When you do buy a new machine, obviously you're going to pay the most, but obviously you're probably going to get a lot more carefree use out of that machine because it's obviously a new machine, and you should be getting full support with that machine. So when you can't figure out how to get the needle changed or how to change the thread or all the things you're going to have to learn if you have no experience with embroidery, then you should be able to call them and someone should help you or call you back and help you with that machine. Here's what I kind of thought. If you have the money, the first machine that you buy, I would buy new. And so I get the full support of that company to help me with that machine. And then your next machine, if you buy the same brand, then I would start buying used for my next machines because now I know the ins and outs of this machine. I know how everything works, and I don't need that support so much anymore. So now my next machines I can much more likely find used. I have put down below several things. I put links to where you can buy used machines. Digitsmith is you're going to be buying private party. So there's likely not to be warranty. There's not going to be no support. But if, for example, if you bought that first machine new and you find another one like it or the same brand, then that might be a good source. It's probably going to be the cheapest. That's probably going to be the cheapest place you're going to find it because you're buying it from a private party or another business, going out of business, upgrading, downgrading, whatever they're doing. I've also put links to some companies that sell used machines. Now, the dealers, I think one of them is an SWF dealer. One of them is just a used dealer. Now, I know for sure the SWF dealer sells used machines. In our business, we've traded in machines to buy larger machines several times, and they gave us trade-ins on the older machines, and what they do is they take those older machines back and they tear them apart, go through them, replace all the things that are likely to go wrong. So if you're comparing it to a car, they put new brake shoes on it, they change the oil filters, the air filters, all the things that are the kind of routine maintenance that are going to go wrong with these machines. They change all that up, put in new parts, and then they resell the machines as a used machine. So there's some dealers below that you can buy used machines for. So the first decision you have to make, do I want used or do I want new? The second decision is, what about the brand? All right, now everybody's, Everybody's going to have different opinions, but here's just my opinion based on the research that I did when we were trying to buy machines, and in buying machines and going to shows and talking to other companies that do embroidery. Here's just kind of what my thoughts are. You need to do your own research and don't just count on me or any other people that you refer to, but you put a number of different people's opinions together to kind of form your opinion that you will make. There are about 4 or 5 brands of machines that I would buy, and I would not buy any of the other brands. That's just my opinion. I think the 2 supposed leaders in this industry is Tajima and Barradin. Those seem to be, from at least my research, the 2 best brands of machine and the 2 most widely used machines by contract decorators, the huge, large people that do embroidery. Probably use one of those 2 machines. Now there are 2 other brands that I think you can do well with. Another one is ZSK. It's a German brand. For what everything that my research tells me is that's a very well made machine, very durable, very reliable. They're not near as widely used, particularly in the United States, but there are a lot of shops that do use them. And anybody I've ever talked to that have ZSK in their shops are very happy with them, and they would also be a good choice. The 4th brand is actually the brand that we had, is the SWF machines. They are a Korean company originally, and you do find a lot of those machines both in the large shops and all across the United States. It is also a very well-known brand and widespreadly or used widely across embroidery shops. The way it's been explained to me, the SWF is kind of the Chevrolet, where the Tajima and the Barradin, maybe the ZSK, are kind of the Lexus or the Cadillac, probably not as reliable as it used to be, but the Lexus brand, that's the kind of the fancy brand. But the SWF is a little bit cheaper, and it is a good, durable, reliable machine. So I think you can do well with those, and there are lots of those out there, both new and used. I put down below links to the Tajima dealers in the United States, the SWF dealers, the Barradin dealers, the ZSK dealers. Those are probably the only brands I would personally buy. Now, again, I'm sure there are a lot of people that might disagree. There might be other really good brands out there that I've either forgotten or I may not as familiar with. I would definitely stay away from the Chinese-made machines. Everybody in this industry that talks about those machines said they're not going to be reliable. They're going to be cheaper, sometimes significantly cheaper, but you're going to get what you pay for. They're notorious, those Chinese machines, of doing terrible on hats particularly. If all you were going to do is names or something on a polo shirt, they might be okay, but for anything like hats or anything that's a little bit more, you need a good solid machine. They're not going to be very good. And supposedly the reliability is not good. Sometimes getting parts is not great. So in my view, do not buy the Chinese machines. There is one brand that is prominent on YouTube that has lots of good instructional videos, but the research I've done is that brand also is, the machine itself is not a very good machine. I'm not going to name names on publicly here, but if anybody wants to message me, I'll be glad to let you know what the machines are, that brands that you should not buy. The other consideration that you need to think about is the number of needles on the machine. Now, most of the machines that are commercial machines are going to have either 12 or 15 needles, and that's what you want. Now, some of the little kind of very, very beginner, maybe made for your home types that you see sometimes with 6 needles, you can get started with one of those, but I just think if you're thinking you're going to grow this business, you might as well go ahead and get a commercial grade machine. You can get a one-head commercial grade machine. You want 12 or 15 needles. Now, most of your logos are probably going to be 6 colors or less, but the problem is if you have a color or 6 needles, that means you can only do 6 colors at a time. There are going to be some logos that are going to be more than that, so you're going to not be able to do those logos. But the other issue is going to be you're going to be changing the thread on the machine all the time, which takes time. So today I need a white, blue, purple, gold, name the colors. Tomorrow I need a turquoise, lavender, lilac, I don't know, just name it. And so now I have to take off the 3 or 4 or 5 colors that's not on the machine. I got to take that off and put on the 5 or 6 colors that I'm doing today. So if I have a 15 needle machine, I've got 15 colors up there. And from time to time, you still will have to change out the thread. But most of the time, you'll be able to keep this, your main threads on there, and you'll have 3 or 4 or 5 needles you use to switch your specialty color threads in and out. And so that will save you a lot of time. So you want a 15 needle preferably, and that's what most of the new machines are. There are some that are 12, and I think that would be fine. But you don't want to get down there with the 6 colors and things like that, because it's just not going to be enough colors. Now, embroidery machines are very expensive. A good one-head machine, new, the Tajima, Barrett, SWF, ZSK, you're going to be looking to spend between probably 13 and 15, maybe even more now, $1,000 for that machine. Used, you can find some older ones in the $6,000 range. Sometimes I've even seen some for $5,000. But you're probably going to pay for when it's been rebuilt by a company that knows what they're doing. You're probably looking to pay probably around the $8,000, maybe even $9,000 mark to get a one-head commercial machine. When you go to 2 heads, a new one, you're looking probably in the $27,000 to $30,000 range. When you go to 4 head, you're probably looking in the $38,000 to $40,000 range. So they're very expensive machines, but again, the margin is good. It's going to be a good profitable part of your apparel decorating business. And if you've grown your business to that point, it's something you need to consider. You obviously can lease the machine or do through leasing or borrow the money. If your business has gotten to that point, it will pay for itself, and you'll be more than able to make your monthly payment and have profit left for your business. So I hope this helps somebody. Stay tuned to the next video. Thank you.